Hey, what's up guys, Aarava here, and welcome back to the episode of my F1 2019 career mode, episode number 7 today for the Monaco Grand Prix, the jewel in the Formula 1 calendar, and is always an exciting race to come to in the F1 game, because it's always so chaotic, erratic, anything can happen around Monaco, really, unlike maybe the real-life counterpart. And last time out, the Spanish Grand Prix, we already had a very exciting race there, a lot of chaos at Catalonia, so if you did miss that previous episode, then be sure to go check that one out before you see this one. But yeah, the cars, I was interested to see how they would feel around Monaco, with the kind of understeery handling we've had so far with the Alfa Romeo especially, how it would feel. But Monaco, because we're slapping on a lot of downforce for this setup, actually felt really good and was dialing into it pretty quickly in practice. So looking forward to this one. We come to Monaco though with a failure on the rear downforce there. So unfortunately not a double whammy on the downforce, but at least we get the front downforce, which I think out of the two was the one I'd rather that would have come to the car, and I would have preferred the rear one to fail if one was going to fail, because that front end just needs more downforce, especially in our car, to help get the nose turned in, whereas the rear end's been pretty stable actually for me in all honesty through the first few episodes, so that's not too bad. Obviously would have liked to have both, but it is what it is. But you can see in the performance chart there, we're chipping away and we're slowly closing up to McLaren and Racing Point on the R&D chart there, so exciting times. But obviously off the back of last episode, if you haven't seen that, then spoiler alert, we had a gearbox issue in that race, and it means that we come to this Monaco GP having to change the gearbox 2 races before essentially the 6-race period. We had issues with the gearbox last episode, and we have to get a penalty now, which will be a 5-place penalty for changing the gearbox earlier than those 6 races. So at Monaco, that's probably one of the worst circuits to obviously have a gearbox penalty going 5 places back. So we're going to have to hope that the upgrades for this weekend and the kind of upgrades we got at Spain as well are going to work really well around Monaco, and then we can get as high up as possible, because then we'll be going 5 places back. But speaking about that, let's get to qualifying, probably one of the most exciting and important qualifying sessions of the entire calendar season.
We're here at the magical Circuit de Monaco for one of the most challenging qualifying sessions on the Formula 1 calendar. Who can add their name to the illustrious list of Monte-Carlo pole sitters here today? Now then, Anthony Davidson, you're not getting any younger, but you have been involved in your fair share of qualifying sessions in an illustrious 30-year career. How do you deal with the pressure when you have that one chance to deliver a perfect lap?
It's not so much about dealing with the pressure, it's more about how you approach the risk and just how much of it are you willing to take. You're constantly balancing the car on the edge of grip from braking, cornering and traction, and over the course of a lap, it's easy to get that balance wrong, and that's why achieving the perfect lap is almost impossible. As you say, I've been doing this 30 years now, and it never gets any easier.
So we go straight into a flying lap then in Q1, and hoping that this will get us through into Q2, because like I said, we need to go as far up the order as we can. So it will be pretty much a disaster if we don't get out of Q1 at least, and then we're 5 places back there, because that's pretty much then 15th place, down 5 places to last place on the Monaco grid. So coming through the last corner, then Raskas into the last final corner, through good apex there, and just trying to graze the barrier as we get on the exit, close to the wall and to the line, across the line, and it's up to P9, and that will be good enough straight away to get through into Q2. P11 at the end of it, Raikkonen in P13, so both myself and Kimi showing some decent pace there. So I don't know, we haven't gotten to Q3 yet so far this season, but I have a little feeling this might be the first time we could do it. Monaco is all about the driver, less about the car. You can make the difference here by trying to dial into the circuit, and like I said, I was getting to grips with Monaco quite quickly in practice compared to the other circuits. I felt so much more comfy because we had chucked so much downforce on the setup on the car, so the kind of understeer feeling went away, and it felt pretty much kind of like almost last year's game around Monaco, so it was kind of nice to have that feeling. So we come through our first one lap in Q2. It's been a little bit cautious, I can't lie, it looks like there. You can also see just it seems a bit more calmer, I guess, through those corners, but just not trying to obviously hit a barrier or anything like that. That would be a bit of a disaster, and we're up into P5 at the moment. It's eventually going to be P15, so yeah, you can see that was a very that was a banker lap, basically, a bit of a slow lap. But now we're going through for our second flying lap in Q2 and trying to go a little bit quicker there, hit the apex a bit faster in Casino Square, and gaining some good time as we go through Sector 2 into Sector 3, getting as close as we dare to the wall on the right, then flicking it through swing pull there, just trying to not hit any of these walls and not trying to lock up too much, then through onto the last straight, across the line, line. It's P10, and so that is on the cusp in getting into Q3. And as we go to the end of the session, it is going to be P10, and we just narrowly grazed through. Raikkonen comes in P11 there, so it was oh so close for a double Alfa Romeo Q3, but alas, the first time we get into Q3 is going to be at Monaco. I think obviously Kimi already got into Q3 once, I believe, at Bahrain, did he not? I think, actually, so I might have told a lie just previously when I mentioned that earlier on the Q2 lap. So into Q3, into the top 10 shootout, but obviously we're going to go down 5 places, so this is very much needed, but I don't have high hopes for this Q3 lap because we only have one set of tyres left to set a lap time here, and you can see already went a little bit wide at turn 1, had to lift off a little bit too much there on the exit, and it's not been an amazing lap so far, I can't lie, as we cut on to the end, the last sector here, and trying to do the best job we can, but we've already lost a lot of time in the first 2 seconds, I feel, so I don't think it's going to be a particularly amazing lap. Let's just see how it goes, though. Through swing pool, the rear end stepped out a little bit uncomfortably there, so I had to kind of lift off a tiny bit and not go full commitment. Lock up, really bad lock up into Raskas, and so we go through the final corner. Commitment there, good last corner, open DRS, but it might not matter, but we run to the line either way just to see what we can do across the line, and it is going to be P10 in the end. It's a worse lap time than my lap time in Q2, but actually look at the actual times of everyone else. If I had set my Q2 best right now in Q3, that still would have been P10. So in all honesty, wouldn't have made much of a difference. That's where the car is then. Maximum P10 we can get at the Monaco GP. But it's still P10. It's still in the top 10 at Monaco. So I'm very happy with that. But the home man, Leclerc, is on pole. So very happy for him for that. But remember, now we're going to move 5 places back. So Raikkonen will inherit P10 on the grid. And I'll be down to P15. I think that is then counting 5 places back. So it's going to be a tough one. But Monaco, like I said, has been quite erratic, especially in the last F1 game. So never say never, and let's just go into it with high hopes. But the good thing is we do have some good raw pace around this circuit.
I'm sure you're pretty happy with that. It's been a great qualifying session for you. Are you going to carry that momentum into the race?
Like I just said, going to keep positive about it. So going to say to Claire that, yeah, you should keep an eye on me in the race, and we'll be hoping to make some good strides and have something special here at Monaco.
You scraped the walls a few times. Were you struggling for grip?
Going to go with no comment with this because either way, no answer will be positive for me in terms of the department. So we're just going to get straight into Sunday then and go to the race.
Well, thanks anyway.
A proper road race, and in the true meaning of the word. That was how Mr. Monaco, the late great Graham Hill, once described this iconic event. The cars we drive have come a long way in the intervening half-century, but still we race on those same public roads beside the Mediterranean Sea. There's no victory more coveted than that of the Monaco Grand Prix. The astonishing Circuit de Monaco is, for all intents and purposes, virtually unchanged since its inaugural race back in 1929. The faster cars of today, though, ensure the 19 corners past the casino and along the seafront remain as thrilling as ever. A 2.1-mile lap here takes us around an entire country, yet never more than inches from the race-ending barriers. Joining me for today's race once again is Anthony Davidson. So, let's briefly discuss Lewis Hamilton. That was a great win in the last race. Can they keep that momentum going this weekend?
There are never any guarantees in this business, but certainly the performance last time out would have boosted their confidence coming into this one.
It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. A fantastic effort from Charles Leclerc yesterday puts him on pole, and starting alongside him P2 is Sebastian Vettel. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Hamilton, Verstappen, Valtteri Bottas, and Gasly, Hülkenberg, Magnussen, Grosjean and Kimi Raikkonen, Ricciardo, Butler, Lance Stroll and Perez. The engineer, Sainz, Lando Norris and Alexander Albon. Weber and George Russell ends our grid lineup. Now it's almost time to lights out, so let's go down to the track.
Alright, it's Sunday and it's race time for the Monaco Grand Prix. P15 on the grid, so we have some work to do. Strategy, well, it's either a one-stop or a two-stop. The team have put me on a default two-stop here. The soft tyre, apparently they're thinking doesn't go very, very long, or it shouldn't go that long, and that we should probably stick to 2 sets of mediums, but I'm not too sure. We'll have to kind of play it by ear and see how it goes in the race. I think we'll just kind of stick with this strategy right now, and then on the fly we'll decide what the situation is, you know, track position-wise or whatnot, but apparently the team are a little bit bit worried about the soft tire going any longer than about 5-6 laps there. So we'll watch out for that. But I'm raring to go. I want to fight back. We deserve to be in the top 10 come the end of the race here after our qualifying. So let's go get it as we go to 5 red lights then to the Monaco Grand Prix, round number 6 of the 2019 season 1 of career mode. 5 red lights are out and we're on the way. It's a great start for us compared to the Racing Point car who starts on mediums. Of course, we have to start on the soft tyres because we did qualify into Q3, so that's why a lot of people around us are all on the medium tyres. We get past Sergio Perez though into turn 1. Nice overtake there already, and as we go through up the hill, obviously it's going to be very difficult to make any passes here. Bit of a traffic jam, but we're going to keep alert and see when the space opens up for us here as we already get on the back of the gearbox of Lance Stroll, the Canadian. Here we go, we find some space, lock up on the front left, but we find some very weird space and a way to make a pass around the outside of Mirabeau there on Lance Stroll. That's such a weird place to make a move, and it's such a weird way to make a move. I mean, Mirabeau, let alone down the inside, is difficult enough, let alone round the outside then. So awesome stuff there. Already 2 places made up then at Monaco, but now we find ourselves behind Devon Butler, which just so happens to be one of our F2 rivals. So I don't know if it's going to get a little frosty or not, but let's see. But as we move on through the GP, lap number 3, and we're still trying to basically keep up with Devon, essentially, and trying to suss out kind of how, you know, the best place to go around the circuit is, essentially trying to suss out what the best corner could be to make an overtake at this stage. And the car is heavy, obviously, with fuel, so it's a little bit different to qualifying, so having to kind of get used to it and try and settle into this. And again, like we did in qualifying, dialing in, you dial into the race car at Monaco, and so we take all the way to laps number 6. So 3 laps, and we're still behind Devon Butler here, still in P13, which is frustrating to say the least, because I would have liked to have there been some overtaking already in the first 6 laps here, not just lap number 1, but we're just going to slowly try and build up to this and maybe try and make a pass sooner or later. Lap number 7, we get very, very close up his gearbox, but still not close enough to make that infamous Raskas pass I've been known to make on the F1 games if you've been watching my channel on F1 2018, the game. And so we move up to P11 though for free, with 2 people on the top flight making early pit stops. On lap number 8, we've got is that Raikkonen, my teammate, coming in? I think it might have been. No, it's not Raikkonen. It's gonna be someone else. Grosjean, that was, and Hulkenberg coming in. Vettel's in, Hamilton's in, and so we're up into P7 now. And I'm going to say box this lap. It looks like everyone's making pit stops now at this stage. I'm going to follow them in and go on to medium tyres. At this stage though, I did not know if I was going to do a 2-stop or not. I'm pretty sure the likes of Vettel, Hamilton, and them lot, they're going to do a 2-stop. The top guys who were, you know, obviously in the fastest cars, but also have the speed to make a 2-stop work, they're definitely going to do a 2-stop. I'm going on to mediums right now, the lap which pretty much is the 2-stop pit stop, but I don't know what I'm going to do. There might be a chance I just really try and drag this out to a 1-stop. We'll have to see, but for now, I just honestly want to try and get an undercut on Devon Butler, because I was having no luck trying to overtake him previously. But now we have a lot of clean air, nice bit of clean track. We're last place on the track now, and we just push flat out and try and catch up to this train, which is tail-ended by Romain Grosjean there. And you can see on the minimap there is actually still quite a good train there in that midfield, so hopefully they can all hold each other up and I can catch up to them and then just start attacking them on these fresh medium tyres. So we move on to lap number 12 then, still pushing hard, and we're going to start to just about see the light at the end of the tunnel there, and that light is the end of this train, which is still going to be Romain Grosjean behind Hulkenberg. As we come through the hairpin, there we go, we get a sense and a sight of Romain Grosjean, and so it's only going to be a matter of time, a lap or 2 hopefully, before we close up to the Frenchman and we can start to make these overtaking passes here. So we've only made 2 passes so far at Monaco, and they've on-track passes, and they've been on lap number 1, but here we go now, 3rd pass on track down the inside. It's a very aggressive move, I will admit, but needs must here, and we can't be too friendly to these guys. Have to get the elbows out here in Monaco, especially on the F1 game, and so we're up into P19, and now we're going to try and size up a move on Nico Hulkenberg, and I'm very much fancying a pass at La Raskas. So here we go, lining up, and we're going to send it down the inside, little lock up on the front right, but there we go, the very first infamous Raskas pass down the inside from myself on the F1 2019 game, and that felt sweet as hell from coming that far back. We have the grip on the medium tyre compared to Hulkenberg's softs, which are definitely going off at this stage, I would say. And so we're up into P18 then, and we can try and chase after Kevin Magnussen. But yeah, now finally feeling like the car has some pace. You know, I think definitely the soft tyres were actually that horrendous. My team were actually correct to say we should pit that early. That's not to say that the 2 stops the way to go. I still need to debate about that, but definitely the soft tyres were not the one at the restart there for us. But as we now close up to Magnussen, we're going to make a dive down the inside of him and do the same thing we did to his teammate Grosjean there. but I only now just realised we tapped the rear left tyre of Max Verstappen, who somehow has got caught up in this train here. So he was one of the early stoppers that pit with Vettel and Hamilton quite early on lap 6 or 7, but it looks like he was a little bit further back from Vettel and Hamilton, obviously on the road, to the point where he's slotted into this traffic here, and he's actually being held up massively by the two Williams cars. I'm guessing they hope that he could get past these two Williams cars with ease, but obviously the Williams guys have been pretty good in a straight line there, so Verstappen finding it very tricky. And so could we try and overtake a Red Bull Honda here at Monaco? That'd be quite tasty. Maybe even to Raskas, as he leaves a bit of space open there. Not enough room to go around the down the inside, but we try around the outside, have a little look, but eventually Verstappen will try and shut that off there on lap 14 onto 15. DRS open, but obviously he has DRS to counteract that. So for now we just sit tight, but we're contemplating when to make the move, because I think there is a move to be made, and I think it might be now, to be honest. We get a great exit. We're going to go for it down the inside of Verstappen, and it's a big lock-up, double lock-up. How have we not hit the back of George Russell? I'll never know, but here we go. We've made the move, and we're up into P15 now. What an excellent overtake on Max Verstappen at the Monaco Grand Prix, and we overtake Devin Butler in the Toro Rosso. So the undercut has worked a treat. It's been about a 6-lap undercut, but it's worked, and we've overtaken Devin. But here we go, a replay of there, a top-end shot of that overtake. Look at that. Oh, sweet as you want. Just about to slow down the car, just at the right point. Any faster in that corner, and I would have hit the back of the Williams car and broken a bit my front wing, but excellent timing there. A little bit of a lock-up on the right, a major lock-up on the left, but look at that, how close that is to the wall on the right and Verstappen on the left, but minimal contact made. Absolutely awesome move, sweet as you want, and we're up the order then ahead of the Dutchman. And now we'll close up on Lucas Weber here, and we're going to have some good straight line speed, actually, to say the Williams car should be good in straight line. Here we go. It's going to be a dive to the inside out of the Monaco tunnel, and it's a lock up on the front left, but we squeeze Weber out, and we're up into P12, a classic Sergio Perez move, if you will, from 2013 at Monaco, and we're up the order. So now the fun is really starting to happen, and Monaco is coming alive for us. We're up into now P10 of the GP, so we're already now into the points paying positions, and a lot further up than we were when we first pit. So that early pit stop has paid big dividends for us in this Grand Prix, you would say, for sure. But as we swing through now on this off-board shot then, so we're in P10, but let's give you a rundown of what's ahead of us then. So Valtteri Bottas is in P9. He's chasing down Pierre Gasly in the second Red Bull. Of course, Verstappen is behind us at this stage of the Grand Prix. Ahead of Gasly, the two Ferrari cars of Vettel and Leclerc. They're chasing after Lewis Hamilton, and they are three of them coming up on traffic of two Racing Point cars who are P4 and 3. P2 is my teammate Kimi Raikkonen, who's yet to pit in this Grand Prix because he started on the medium tyres, being outside the top 10, remember. And first place is Daniel Ricciardo, also on the medium tyres. So Ricciardo, Raikkonen, and the two Racing Point cars going very long in this Grand Prix, having started on the medium tyres, remember, so they can go a lot longer. And so you can see the top cars of Hamilton, to the Ferraris, etc., are catching up to them and almost getting caught up a little bit behind them, like Verstappen did to the Williams cars. But now on lap 20, 19 laps to go, the Grand Prix is actually flown by now, and Ricciardo has just pit now for his one and only pit stop, and he's come out ahead of us then. So that one stop is working out really well for Ricciardo. Of course, that actually might mean when Raikkonen pits, he might actually be quite close to us here, so we could maybe try and get back past our teammate after having to obviously give him the position due to the penalty on the grid. But as we skip on later onto the lap outside the Monaco tunnel, Verstappen with a dive bomb down the inside to try and overtake us on lap 20. We lock up at the front left. Verstappen has hit the wall, and I think there's been a bit of contact and damage for Verstappen, not with us, but on the wall on the left-hand side. I gave him all the room in the world, and he was still unable to make that pass, and so Verstappen controversially tries to just maybe be a bit too rushed with the overtake maybe, and so he might have to pit now in this Grand Prix, which will alleviate any more pressure that he was going to try and apply to us. Yeah, he comes into the pit lane, so he's got damage on that front wing. Sergio Perez is in the pit lane as well, you can see on the minimap, and Raikkonen has also just come out now of the pit. So Raikkonen's made his one and only stop of the Grand Prix because he's on hard tyres now, and he's going to the end of this race. And at this stage, I think you can kind of guess what my plan is. I'm going to try and go to the end on these medium tyres. I know it's a big risk, it's a big ask of these tyres, but they're not too worn right now. And let's just pause for a second and realise where we are. We're in P5, Raikkonen is in P4, and we're both going to end this Grand Prix. The cars ahead of us might need to make one more pit stop in this Grand Prix as well. We are looking amazing. This one stop has been amazing for the team, let alone just myself trying to recover from these 5 places. But this is the move then. Verstappen tries to send one down the inside, and he just turns in so early. into the bollard there, into the wall, into the barrier, and just hits his front wing there. So just kind of, like you can see from the onboard, I clearly gave him all the room in the world. So that's just on him, basically. So, yeah, very odd one for him. But, yeah, going back to us, we're looking in a very good position because when we got into lap 24, Raikkonen now is up into P2. I'm in P3. We're in a double podium position for Alfa Romeo Racing here. Ricciardo's leading the Monaco Grand Prix. Hamilton, the race leader, has just pit now and he's in traffic. The two Ferraris in pit. It's all kicked off, and once again, like last game, F1 2019 again, Monaco is just crazy. We've got Ricciardo in the lead, two Alfa Romeos on the podium right now, and we've only got a finite amount of laps left in this GP, so it's going to be very exciting to see. But I suspect Hamilton should have the pace to close up to us and try and go for this race win. So let's just calm things down right now. He's going to very easily overtake the cars he's got to before he gets to me, which includes one Haas car and then Devin Butler as well, eventually, as he goes through the Monaco tunnel, and he's going to make a dive bomb down the inside. A very aggressive move there. It's great to see AI on AI overtakes like this at Monaco. You didn't really see too much of it on 2018, actually, so good stuff there and good improvements for the 2019 game. Hamilton making some bold moves there, and he's up into P4 now and chasing after myself in P3. Raikkonen up ahead in P2 through Raskas, and through the last corner, Rick Bobby, the man who obviously won the Monaco Grand Prix in the Red Bull car last year, did bits, and obviously is very good around Monaco, doing a great job at Monaco right now in his Renault car. But the time has come, lap 28, and honestly, there's no point fighting Hamilton too much. He's got way too much pace here. He shoves me off the road a little bit there, getting the elbows out by pushing my front left tyre, and he's passed into P3. But there's no point trying to fight him too much because I think the pace he's showing right now, he will guaranteed go and overtake Raikkonen and Ricciardo. So we've got to try and settle for P4. But that still technically means if I can hold P4, Raikkonen could get P3 in this Grand Prix. I would love to say I'm going to go try and chase after Raikkonen for P3. But as Hamilton dives down the inside and gets that P2 from him, and Raikkonen moves down to P3, you can see I'm nowhere near Raikkonen because my pace has not been great. He's on hard tyres that have only gone for a few laps. I'm on mediums that have gone a lot longer already, so my tyre wear just isn't there, and also just the general pace is dropping off a little bit because the understeer was kicking in. I didn't know at the time why there was so much understeer on the car, but as we go through, I find out that I've actually got a bit of damage on the front wing. I don't know when this happened, but I have a decent amount of damage on the front wing, which is going to cause me a lot of understeer, of course. I must have tapped the wall somewhere, but the indicator never came up to say I had damage. My engineer never told me I had damage, so very, very odd situation here. But yeah, now I'm limping through this Monaco Grand Prix and trying to just see this race through to the end and keep this P4 position, and effectively also protect Raikkonen's podium position here in P3. Meanwhile, you've got Lewis Hamilton trying to chase after the race lead, and he has caught up to Daniel Ricciardo. So like I said, he seemed like he would have the pace to get back into the race lead here. Could he make a move to the inside? No, he does not, actually, this time around. So Ricciardo is able to place his car well enough that lap. But now as we move on to a new one, and it might be into turn one this time round the outside. This will be quite an overtake and a half here around the outside of turn one for the Monaco GP race win. You would say at this stage there's only a few laps left in this GP now, so that's pretty much booked him in. And so what a way to get back into the lead then. So Hamilton leads it from Ricciardo. Raikkonen is still in third place. The Iceman doing absolute bits to be in a podium position with Alfa Romeo, and we're up in P4 as well. So this would be also my best finishing position, but what a race for the team as a whole with Raikkonen getting that podium, and fair play. I mean, GG, but of course it's a little bit bittersweet because that could have been me in the podium position if I didn't have that penalty there. But of course that's, you know, swings and roundabouts. It's kind of my fault maybe in a way, obviously, for having the gearbox 2 worn in previous races. So, you know, you can say a lot of stuff in hindsight, but you know, right now we're doing the job we need to, which is defending massively against Valtteri Bottas. You can see on lap 36, you know, he tries to dive bomb me down the inside, but we just placed the car wonderfully there at the end of the tunnel to just try and stop him, basically make him go wide, go the long way round. And for now, we're doing the best we can. You know, we're saving ERS for the right part of the circuit. Hot lap mode, overtake mode to turn one. Again, he tries around the outside. We give him the room, but squeeze him out on the exit. And so we're just playing this race off perfectly to a T to get through to the end of the race. You can see, though, the rear tyres are absolutely gone. But there you go. Lewis Hamilton wins the Grand Prix. Ricciardo will come second, and we'll just about come through this last sector for P4. But Raikkonen, what a story for him. P3, I told you, you know, so far this season, he's had a lot of bad luck. 2 DNFs in a row there was at the start of the season. Just generally hasn't, you know, he's got caught up in traffic or whatnot. Hasn't had too much pace in the opening stints and such. But now, perfect strategy for him, and he's shown shown he has the pace in that car, and our car is also showing a lot more pace lately. Obviously, Spain, we've showed some good pace before the mechanical issues, and here we've shown pace all race long, and so it's going to be a podium position for Alfa Romeo Racing and a 3-4 at the Monaco Grand Prix.
Okay, good job, mate. Really well done. That was a fantastic drive.
The Mercedes team pulled out a fantastic performance today. They should be proud. What do you think it was, Ant, that gave them the edge over the competition today?
Well, I know it's a bit of a boring answer, but the truth is they simply had the best speed package on the day, and a driver who knows how to take advantage of that. It doesn't matter how much time you spend poring over the stats and planning strategies if you can't keep the pace, and our winner today showed they could do both.
Mercedes are on top form once again after an excellent race weekend. It's great to see them up on that podium once again.
Amazing performance out there. I'm sure you're pretty happy with that. Some excellent overtaking moves from your former teammate today. Did he learn some of them from you?
A bit of an odd question because I didn't really see too much of Lucas Weber, and it overtook him actually in the race, but I'm going to compliment my team at the bottom there and say with our car we've got a lot more to teach him later on.
You left a lot of paint on the walls today. Were you struggling for grip, or did you just misjudge some corners? I'm
going to go with no comment on this one because, again, it's not going to be too positive there. So some weird questions, to be honest, following a 3-4 for our team, to be honest.
Well, thanks anyway.
But it doesn't matter about the interview questions. What matters is that race result there. 15 points and 12 points for Raikkonen and myself. And so Raikkonen kickstarts his season there and gets into the top 10, the Drivers' Championship. Wonderful stuff there for him, and showing that he's still not lost his groove there, getting the podium in a car like ours. And we now move up into 5th place in the Constructors. What a race weekend for us, and that really starts now mount a good challenge in the midfield there against the likes of Renault, and of course getting ahead of Racing Point and the others of Haas and whatnot. So yeah, overall, can't complain really. I mean, I could complain a little bit about the penalty because it could have been more better race for us otherwise there, but we get 600 points extra R&D as well, so positive that way. So we can now repurchase the rear downforce, the minor one, which we did not get for this episode. And in the end, I'm going to go for another front downforce upgrade because just more front downforce is not going to be a harm to our car because it just means a better turn-in really for us, which is going to make things better, especially for myself maybe in terms of the handling of the car. And also at the same time, finally, I thought it was maybe time to do an engine upgrade since we haven't done one, and that's the only department we've left alone apart from the reliability, of course. So we'll do the minor engine upgrade, so that'll be a little boost to our power on the engine side of things, so that'll come in clutch for the next episode, the Canadian Grand Prix, hopefully as well. And I think that'll be it then for us this episode. Don't want to spend too much and do too much in one go, because also I want to see what we can do down the line once we open up a bit more of the R&D tree to the engine, maybe the aero as well. And also just, yeah, not spending all the money in one go. There's no point to. You don't need to take things too quickly. Let's just try and see, because obviously I feel like if you try and do too many upgrades at once, sometimes they are kind of more prone to failure. So we'll see how it goes, because right now we've got stacked up 4 potential upgrades for the Canadian Grand Prix. A major chassis upgrade, 2 minors on aero, 1 minor on engine. There's at least bound to be one failure on these, I can guarantee, because it always happens when you stack so many upgrades up in one go. So we'll see how that pans out at Montreal. But what a fantastic Monaco Grand Prix, results-wise and also race-wise. Really entertaining, really great one for us. Action-packed stuff. So guys, if you did enjoy that, be sure to smash the like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. If you're on your own here to subscribe for weekly full-on content, I've been Alfa. Have a good day. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.